Druid Princess Briga, Episode 1 The Attic of Extremely Inconvenient Destiny. Briga had been in the attic for exactly 12 minutes before deciding that family history was overrated. Dust floated through the sunlight coming from the small triangular window, turning the air into a sparkling haze. Boxes were stacked everywhere. Old clothes, Christmas decorations, a broken lamp that might have been from the 1980s, and at least four mysterious containers labeled important, do not throw away, which, as far as Briga could tell, meant things nobody has opened in 20 years. She wiped sweat from her forehead and leaned onto a box. Mom said there was something up here about our family history, she muttered. But so far, all I've found is a bowling trophy from someone named Gerald. She shined her flashlight across the attic. That's when she saw the chest. It sat in the far corner under the slanted roof, half buried under an old quilt. It was carved from dark wood and covered in strange twisting designs that looked almost like vines. Briga walked over slowly. That's actually pretty cool. She brushed dust off the lid. The carvings were clearer now. Leaves, branches, and a strange circular symbol that looked almost like a crown made from oak leaves. Please don't be cursed, she said quietly. She lifted the lid. The attic exploded with green light. Briga stumbled backward. Oh no. Inside the chest were several objects arranged neatly like they'd been waiting for someone. A small crown woven from golden oak leaves, a folded parchment map, a sword wrapped carefully in cloth, and a single oak leaf with tiny eyes and a mouth. The leaf blinked. Hello, Briga screamed. She tripped over a box and landed on the attic floor. The leaf leaned over the edge of the chest. Hello, new king! I am not a king, Briga shouted. The leaf tilted thoughtfully. Hello, possibly king. Before Briga could respond, the crown began floating. Green mist swirled around it, filling the attic like fog. Slowly, the mist formed the shape of a tall figure with long hair and robes made of shimmering light. A ghostly man appeared. He had the bearing of someone who expected dramatic music to be playing. He pointed at Briga. At last, he proclaimed. Briga stared. My descendant has arrived. Briga stared harder. What? The ghost spread his arms majestically. You carry the blood of the ancient Druid kings. Wind rushed through the attic, even though the windows were closed. The sacred treasures must... He stopped. His expression changed. What was I saying? The leaf shrugged. The ghost scratched his chin. He floated toward a dusty kettle on a nearby shelf. Was I making tea earlier? Briga sat on the floor, stunned. My attic is haunted. 5 minutes later, Briga burst out the front door of her house, just as Chess rode up on his bike. Chess nearly fell off when he saw her. Whoa, he said. You look like you've discovered a secret dungeon. Briga grabbed his arm. Chess, something weird is happening in my attic. Chess immediately lit up. Treasure weird? Maybe. Chess's eyes sparkled. He parked his bike so fast it fell over. Lead the way. 2 minutes later, they were standing in the attic. Chess stared at the chest. Oh. He slowly opened his backpack and pulled out a thick notebook labeled Treasure Catalog, Volume 3. Briga pointed at the chest. That thing summoned a ghost king. Chess knelt beside the chest like an archaeologist discovering a lost temple. Briga, he said reverently. This is clearly a legendary artifact container. The leaf popped up. Hello, treasure man. Chess gasped. Talking relic. He flipped open his notebook. Item number 1. Sentient leaf. The leaf waved proudly. Chess lifted the crown. Possible artifact class? Legendary. He examined the sword. Condition? Slightly haunted. Briga rubbed her temples. I regret showing you this. Chess opened the chest again. Inside was a rubber chicken. Both of them froze. That wasn't there before, Chess said. He squeezed it. Outside, thunder cracked. They slowly turned toward the attic window. Lightning flashed across the sky. Briga stared at him. Did you just summon weather with a rubber chicken? Chess wrote in the notebook. Item number 2. Thunder chicken. Briga's phone suddenly buzzed. She checked the screen. Oh no! Chess looked up. What? Youth group starts in 15 minutes. Chess nodded thoughtfully. Can we bring the chest? No. What about the sword? No. What about the thunder chicken? No. 20 minutes later, they walked into the church youth room. Students were talking, laughing, and grabbing slices of pizza. Sophia sat at one of the tables, reading a book. She looked up as Briga and Chess entered. You opened the chest, she said calmly. Briga froze. How did you know that? Sophia closed her book. The green glow was visible from 3 streets away. Chess sat down next to her. There are at least 7 treasures, he said. Sophia nodded slightly. Yes. Briga spun toward her. You knew? Sophia shrugged. I suspected. At that moment, Pastor Mike walked in carrying 2 pizza boxes. All right, everyone, he said cheerfully. Pizza is here. The room erupted in cheers. Briga leaned toward Sophia. My attic summoned a ghost king. Sophia nodded. That sounds about right. Meanwhile, Chess was examining something under the table. A faint glow spread across the floor. Pastor Mike noticed. Chess, he said carefully. Why do you have a glowing sword? Chess looked up proudly. Artifact. The sword suddenly floated into the air. Students gasped. The sword drifted across the room and landed in Briga's hands. It glowed brighter. The air! The entire room stared at her. Briga swallowed. This is a misunderstanding. Chess whispered excitedly. Chosen one. Pastor Mike raised a hand. All right, everybody, sit down a moment. The room slowly quieted. Pastor Mike gestured toward the glowing sword. You know, he said thoughtfully, this reminds me of something from the Bible. Chess leaned forward. Is it treasure? Pastor Mike smiled. When David was chosen to become king, he was the youngest in his family. Nobody expected him to be the one. Briga listened quietly. Sometimes, Pastor Mike continued, God chooses ordinary people for important things, not because they're the strongest or the most impressive, but because they're willing to step forward when it matters. Briga looked down at the glowing sword. Chess raised his hand. What if the chosen person also likes treasure? Pastor Mike laughed. That's okay, too. The sword pulsed with light. The quest begins! Everyone froze. Sophia smiled slightly. The treasures are waking up. Miles away, the chest in Briga's attic began glowing again. Inside, new shapes formed out of swirling green light. The Druid King floated nearby, sipping tea. Oh, right, he said suddenly. The 7 sacred treasures. Back at youth group, Briga stared at the sword in her hands. I think, she said slowly, my life just got weird. Chess grinned. This is the best day ever. Sophia folded her book. This is only the beginning.